Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the Purplatypus is the name. Welcome back to another Octopath COTC video. So today I'm going to try to answer the question, how free-to-play friendly is Octopath at this point in time? And I do say at this point because it's a gacha. I can't know what the future is going to hold. Their business practices may change. They may fuck up power creep. They may, who knows? I can't know what the future holds, and it's a constantly evolving game. I can answer it for it right now. Now, before we jump into it, a disclaimer, I'm going to give my perception, but also keep in mind that I've spent about $200 to $250. I don't quite remember which one on the game so far. I don't have a genuine free-to-play experience, but based off what I've played, what I think I could, using only quote-unquote free-to-play units, would you be able to progress things like that? So I may not be literally the most qualified to talk about this, having spent money, but I put a lot of time into the game and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding. So hopefully I could at least answer it for you guys slightly. So short, precise video, not 20 minutes. That's what we're going to do. How free to play friendly is Octopath Traveler? So as a gacha, you could download it for free, right? You could download and play it for free, and you can also download it and pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to try to max out all your characters. Both of those can be done very easily in terms of the game, right? You could download it to start playing, have a good time. You could download it, start playing, and start paying big bucks for power in the game. That's gacha, baby. But as far as free to play goes, it means download the game, don't spend a dime, and just play and have a good time. How easily can you do that and progress and not just be like, oh, you're just getting picked on? This is a single player RPG, single player. There is no leaderboards. There is no, PvP. There's no way for you to interact with other players. This is you and your account, right? So you're not being pressured by a meta to pull units. You're not being whale food, right? There's not a bunch of whales in a PvP setting that are just destroying you because they spent $10,000 and you spent $20, right? None of that's here. It's purely you versus the single player content. And I will say I have 53 hours in the game right now. And I think up to this point, and even beyond where I'm at right now, this game is easily free to play friendly at this stage. Now, I do have a lot of 5 stars. I will admit, I think as level caps become more and more relevant, the 5 stars will become more important because they have higher level caps. So later into the content you get, the more you're going to need high star units. However, you get free to play currency. You get I think you get like 7 multis or whatever in your initial account. So you could reroll until you have guarantee, people have rerolled till they have 4 or 5 stars. When a new 5-star comes out, a new banner comes out for like a really good unit, you could re-roll the account there, so you could wait to start then. But really what's going to be the meat and bones of a free-to-play account, meat and potatoes, meat and bones, I don't know, whatever the fuck the term is going to be your 4 stars. And it's going to be your 4 out of 4 stars. So when you pull a unit, you can get, there's 4-star units, and then people call them 3.5, but they're basically 3 out of 4 stars. There are units that are just 3 stars and can never be 4 stars, like Jose here, Penny, all of them. But then you'll see there's characters that are 3 out of 4, means that they can rank up into a 4-star. And these are the ones you're going to want to be using most of the time. In fact, I would say in the early game, early mid game, you don't even want to be using 3 stars if at all possible. And if you have a unit you like that's 4 stars, but they're 3 out of 4, sorry, they're like 3.5 stars, they're 3 out of the 4, but there's a unit you don't like as much, but they're 4 out of 4 stars, I would say just use the 4 out of 4 stars. Level caps are a big deal. You can see the level cap of a 3.5 is 40, and the level cap of a 4 out of 4 is 60. And you do need to get, like, 40 is pretty high early on, but I'm already at the point where I'm trying to get all my characters up to 55, right? So 60 level cap is like the minimum of where I ever would want a character to be at if they're going to go in my party, because that's around the level I need to even do the content I'm doing right now. And it's only going to go up from there, right? And eventually, and maybe I'll need all 100s, maybe I'll need all level 80s. I don't know. I can't speak for the future, but I will say use the 4 out of 4 star units. But here's the thing, it doesn't pick any 4 out of 4 star unit. Mina, Sigrid, Cedric, Camilla, Tahir, Kless. They're all great units, like really good. In fact, we'll go to my favorite unit in the game probably right now is a 4-star unit. I like all my 5 stars. They're all good. And you know, maybe they're like actually great, but Wingate here is like my favorite unit in the game. Wingate is just like an MVP in my book. They have pretty much everything I want. They have 2 great passives. They have the passive to raise damage dealt by the front row to broken foes. So while he's in the back row healing up, doing, you know, chilling, he's also giving a passive 20% damage boost to the front row if they're broken. And then he has his other really cool passive where he raises his own damage by 20% when he exploits an enemy weakness. So you kind of want to get up there, breaking enemies, and because he does good damage, and you move him to the back and have someone else come out and deal heavy damage in the front. And he just has like incredibly useful abilities as well. Like every one of his abilities is great. The worst ability might be the Shadow Strike, so I'm actually going to get rid of that right now. So we've got Chain Shadow Reaver, all foes, 75 potency, 2 times. Great. It's a little expensive, but it's very powerful, very good shadow ability, especially on a character that like you wouldn't expect, I think, to have a really good shadow ability, but AoE 2 times, very good. And the potency is not bad either. Double Sting, that's a little basic, but it's still 2 dagger attacks. That's like kind of the baseline, whatever. The 2 really good ones here are Shield Breaker, that it does good potency, and whenever you hit anything with it, it just breaks a shield. It's only 1, so it's not like the best. There are 5-star versions that are better. And he also has an AoE one that can hit everyone to break one of their shields. I have like some other thieves that have like, oh, they could do it twice, right? They can hit one character 2 times to break 2 shields. But this is kind of like his backup plan. If they're not weak to daggers, they're not weak to shadow, you could still be breaking stuff with him, and I like it. Spider Fang, though, this ability is fucking great. Lowers the speed by 15% of who it hits. That doesn't sound like a lot, but honestly, that's a lot of times. It's usually enough to make the difference, to make the enemy go first and let all your units go before the enemy go last, and all your units go first. I mean, it just, and that's a pretty big deal, because it lets you react instead of having to be you know, what the hell's that word, instead of having to predict what the enemy's doing, you get to react to what they're doing. It's much harder to predict what an enemy's going to do. So if you have like if you have a healer but they're slow and they're going after the enemy, you have to assume what the enemy's going to do before you do it. Otherwise the enemy gets 2 actions before you get a chance to do anything. Because let's say on your healer that you don't have them in, because let's say your whole party's at full health. You have your healer, but they move last in the turn. So you switch them out, or you just have them do a damage attack. You have them attack because they're weak to staffs. So, you know, your guys move, the enemy attacks, he does a giant AoE, gets your guys halfway dead. And then your healer goes and he hits something with a staff. Now you're on the next turn, you want to heal, but the enemy gets to go again before your healer gets to go. So you get you don't have a healer in the first 2. And so then the guy AoEs your team down and you're all dead, or your healer dies and he can't heal anymore, all because he was slower than the enemy, instead of being able to just heal before the enemy gets a chance to go. This ability, that was a long way of saying this ability is really good at making that not happen, making sure your healers are faster, getting the damage in and breaking enemies. I got definitely sidetracked there about Wingate, but this is just trying to give an example of like the power level of some of these 4-star units. So you can absolutely do all the content that I've come across in the game with these 4-star units. And in fact, I don't even think it would be very hard. It might take a little bit longer to grind, to get, like, you're not going to have quite as many super powerful abilities. You might want to get your levels a little bit higher than you would if you were using a bunch of 5 stars. But 4 stars are easier to awaken. When you awaken, you get 30% bonus stats. Even if I have 5 stars, I may not be using all the 5 stars because they may not have 30% increased stats like my 4 stars do. And so later down the line, this will likely change. Everyone will probably evolve to using more and more 5 stars as more are released and more are more powerful. But right now, like, if you could download this game for free, play for 50, 60 hours for $0, experience a wonderful story, a great combat system, wonderful music, like all the benefits that this game has, as long as you're careful that you're not the type to get sucked into a gacha that you can't afford. You always have to be kind of aware of that, gambling, addict, you know, that kind of stuff. Know yourself and know if you can trust yourself in a game like this, basically. But if you could just download this game and play it for free and have a wonderful time for like 60 hours at least, and maybe twice as long, maybe 100 hours, maybe 400 hours, 1,000 hours. I don't know what the future holds. So I'm just saying right now, I absolutely could have played free to play this entire time. It would have been slightly less fun, I'll admit, because I would have had less characters to select. I would have had to play with characters that instead of characters I loved, I'd have to play with characters that I just had, you know. But because I have most of the characters, not all the 5 stars, but I think literally all the 4 stars, most of them 4 out of 4. I could use kind of a much larger cast of characters. I could find the ones that I want that synergize and makes the team building much more fun. But there's nothing wrong with if you're free, just you take a hit on the team building and not using the units you want as much, but you still get to experience the story. And if you're going for 4 stars, you're going to be getting them anyway. And they might be viable into the late game anyway. I don't know how high level the content gets, but a 4 stars max level after you fully invest in them is going to be level 80. 5 stars are going to be up 100. 3 stars are like, I don't know, 60 or something like that. Who cares? Don't use 3 stars. Like, use them for like the first hour of the game and then switch them out ASAP. They're not worth the experience. There might be like 1 or 2 in there that are good for a while, but the second that they're getting to these level caps, you're just going to feel screwed because they're not going to be able to get any stronger. You need to be using 4 stars. That's a little unfortunate. I wish 3 stars weren't quite so bad, but they have their uses in terms of getting the influence on your account up. You know, they can make your hunt teams have a higher influence thing. They're basically influence batteries from what I could see, but yeah, overall, I would say this game is incredibly free to play friendly. I don't think the gacha is super generous. There have been some good promotions so far, like a nice, you know, like an initial one that's like, oh, it was really cool. You get a guaranteed 5 star. And then there was a step up one, right? You get a 50% off a poll. So it's $1. Is it $1.50? No, it's $15. Man, that's still a lot. It's $15 on a poll. And then $20, $25, and then the full price, which is $30 and $30. Those are expensive, but again, you can use free-to-play currency on this. If you've saved your free-to-play currency, you're guaranteed to get a 5 star on the step 5. So you get pretty big discounts as you go, and this kind of stuff seems to be relatively common. So it seems to be not afraid to let you use your free-to-play currency effectively, which is good. And then if you want to become a light spender, there's a lot of ways you could choose in a light spending as well. This would be the perfect one. This is you could do it. It's effectively you get a daily 10 gem summon. So this is essentially $1 a day you're allowed to spend, which is a funny way of putting it, I guess. But then after 30 summons, you'll get a veteran's sacred seal, which I believe is a guaranteed 5-star unit. So this is also like it's actually a pretty good discount, right? You get, instead of 30 gems for a summon, it's 10. It has to be paid. It costs about $1. But then after 30, so you could do it, you know, $30 a month if you wanted to, or you could do this over the course of 2 months and consider this like a subscription fee of $15 a month. You get a daily summon, which is kind of fun. You know, it quickly will expand your roster. And so for light spenders, I think this is a pretty good option here. And then just save up your free to play stuff for this stuff. But yeah, I think I'm starting to ramble now. Overall, I think this game is very free to play friendly. The free characters, which I would consider the 4 stars, you might be limited in your options, but they're very powerful and can make very viable teams. And yeah, that's it. There's not an energy gatekeeping system. There's not a farming gatekeeping system. Really, it's just you and your account, right? You're not going to be eaten by whales. You're not just kelp while whale wars are fighting each other. This is you and your account. And I think you could very easily enjoy this game for a very long time, 100% free to play, and not really have any issues other than maybe feeling left out if you're in the community and people are pulling on these cool new units and you just don't have the currency for it. But you know, that kind of happens in every gacha, I guess. So if you're playing a gacha, you probably know what you're getting into in that regard. Anyway, that's it for the Purplatypus. Much love. See you guys next time. Have a great day. Also, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I have a giveaway going on. Check my YouTube channel for the video there. If that video gets over 5,000 views, I'm going to give away $60. Regardless of how many views it gets, I'm giving away at least $30. So if it's got 1 view, it's got like 500 right now or something. I don't know. But I'm giving away $30 guaranteed. If we get over 5,000, which I put there that there partially because it would be super cool. I'm like, awesome. But also I'm like, I don't think it's like one of those things like I hope we get, but it's right on the edge of like, I don't know if it's realistic even. But we'll see. Guys, watch that video, subscribe, do the YouTube shit. I'll see you next time. Peace.